Tonight's video, we're going to look at solar energy, so energy from the sun, and how it affects us here on Earth. We'll talk about these things called electromagnetic waves and the different types of light that the sun gives off. We'll also look at how these different types of light affect the Earth and what happens to them when they reach the Earth's atmosphere. So first off, the sun gives off energy through what we call electromagnetic waves. This is just a fancy scientific term for light waves. Alright, so the sun gives off its energy through light. It turns out, though, that not all light waves are the same. So we can measure a property of different light waves, which is called wavelength. So if you picture light waves as being just like ocean waves, where they have a peak and then a dip in between and then a peak and then a dip in between, but whereas in the ocean, those peaks and dips might be 30, 40 feet apart. Here we are talking billions or trillions of a meter apart. All right? So we've got wavelength is the distance between each wave in the light wave. Depending on the wavelength, you get different types of light. So our eyes can only see some wavelengths. We can just see this little band of wavelengths of light here, and we call that visible light. Any kind of light that doesn't have a wavelength in this little band is a different kind of light, and our eyes can't see it. Things like X-rays, right? Our eyes don't see those. Gamma rays, ultraviolet radiation, infrared radiation. Your body gives that off as heat, but your eyes can't see it. Microwaves, like in your microwave oven, and radio waves that your car's radio can, if you quote unquote see those radio waves, and turns them into sound. So the sun is going to give off all of these, but we can only see just this little bit. And different colors are going to have different wavelengths of light. So most energy from the sun comes as visible light. Sun's energy again. Most energy from the sun is visible light, along with some infrared and some ultraviolet. Right? Infrared is just another way of saying heat, and ultraviolet is beyond violet, beyond purple, so even shorter wavelengths than purple. Now, what happens to all of this? The atmosphere is going to block some light, some wavelengths of light, but lets others through. So visible light, those wavelengths, those all reach the surface. However, most ultraviolet light is blocked either in the thermosphere or in the stratosphere by the ozone layer. Right? A lot of infrared radiation is absorbed in the thermosphere and in the stratosphere. So of all the light that reaches the Earth's atmosphere, only a little bit of it makes it all the way to the Earth's surface. Right? Visible light, though, the light that we see, all of that makes it to the surface. And then once light reaches the surface, different things happen to it. About a quarter of it gets reflected right back into space. All right, so this light hits, it might hit off a cloud, it might hit off snow, and just get bounced straight into space. All right, about 5% is reflected by the Earth's surface. 50%, half of the light from the sun, gets absorbed by the surface and turned into heat. And about 20% is absorbed by the Earth's atmosphere. Finally, we're going to look at something called scattering. Right, so as light comes into the atmosphere, they're going to be hitting air molecules the whole way down. Right? And it turns out that some of these light waves will bounce off of air molecules. This is called scattering because the light gets scattered all over the sky. You can imagine as if the air molecules function as little mirrors bouncing this light everywhere. It turns out that short wavelengths of light, blue or purple, scatter all over the sky much better than red, orange, yellow, green. And so the sun doesn't give off as much purple light as it does blue light, so this blue light gets scattered all over the atmosphere before it comes down to the surface. The red, orange, yellow, and green come straight in, but blue gets bounced over here before coming back down. And that makes the sky look blue. So, a lot of stuff went on, a lot of stuff we talked about today. Make sure you write 3 questions at the end, and I will see you in class next week to go over solar energy.